Hi everyone, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Doctor.
Okay, good afternoon. So, those who come late, then the system will stop them from joining our class after 2:15. So, before we start with our lecture, is there any question that you would like to ask? Just a quick, if you think that you can have a quick answer. Otherwise, if you think that you need longer times to be explained, then we see whether we have extra time or not after we have finished the lecture. But for quick one, you can ask me, so I'll try to answer. Any question?
Doctor, I have one question, but I'm not sure whether it's quick or it takes a longer time. For the Islamic finance, for the calculation part, there is the rental division.
Calculation part, you need to see the calculation. You need to see the table. So I think referring to the table, you won't understand. So that one, we see whether we have extra time or not. Otherwise, I have to be in tutorial. Okay?
All right. So I ask later. Thank you, Doctor.
Just a quick one without referring to any table, then I will be able to answer straight away. Any other question?
Doctor, can you explain a bit about the tripartite agreement on the REITs?
Tripartite agreement is basically refer to three things. Number one is the securitization itself. Where the securitization itself, then we need to have trustees as well as we need to have property managers, which usually come from independent property managers. So basically, these three parties must look after the REITs that have been securitized. So basically, each of them will actually have responsibilities, and then they also they need to assess whether the REITs that are going to be published or to be offered fulfill the requirements of, for example, in Malaysia we have Bursa Malaysia. So basically, each of them has responsibilities. Okay.
Okay, Doctor.
Okay, any other question? One more.
Doctor, for mortgage REITs, it said that they mainly extend credits on existing properties. So that means the newer properties, they don't get involved?
For the concept is still the same like public limited companies or company in bahasa we call syarikat awam berhad in bahasa. So public limited company. So basically, REITs can actually be expanded in terms of real estate investment trust that are going to be issued, can actually be expanded further if the REITs company, based on the board of directors decision, needs to purchase other properties for the purpose of diversification. For example, at the moment they only have office properties, so obviously they do not have enough money. They do not have enough money, then they have to issue REITs in order to get fund for the purpose of purchasing, let's say, industrial properties, if they think that industrial property is good to be diversified. So basically, they issue the real estate investment trust, and then from the money that they have, they can actually purchase the industrial facilities that they think should help the companies to grow further. So that's how it works. Just the same like public limited companies, like our for example, to produce more products, for example, because the demand is very high. So under the current capacity, they do not have enough fund. So basically, they need a bigger plant, for example, or they also need a machinery, new machinery. So basically, this company can actually issue IPOs, initial public offerings. So the stocks that will be sold in the capital market. So basically, in Malaysia, under Bursa Malaysia, of course. So basically, they use the money to expand their business. So REITs and public limited companies, the way that issues stocks or the issue REITs are the same, no different. The only difference is in terms of the profit that the company is going to keep after the end of the year. What I mean by end of the year doesn't mean that in December. It depends on where they start they want to declare they start the business. For example, if they start in June 2020, that means the end of the year for that particular business is June 2021. It doesn't mean that January to December. So basically, each company has to be audited in a year, which depends on when they declare to start the business. Okay, Lamia?
Okay, thanks, Doctor.
Okay. So now you can ask me if you have extra times after the class. If you do not have extra time, then you can always ask me during tutorial. So now we go to our lecture today. Let me share the screen first. Let me record the meeting first. It's taking time to record. By the way, when is our second test? You remember?
It should be week 13, if not mistaken.
Okay, week 13. So now we are in week 11. So that means we have 2 more weeks. So for the second test, we'll focus on lectures from week 8 to week 13. So if you do in week 13, so basically week 8 to week 12, we try to do that. Okay, so for today's lecture, let me okay, can you see? Oh, I haven't shared the screen, yeah? Can you see the screen now? Not yet?
Not really.
Okay. How come? Oh. Okay, can you see now?
Can.
You see or not?
We see you.
Okay. So today our lecture is on development finance. So we'll try to see what does it mean by development finance, and then try to see the process of development finance. So basically, we try to understand what is development finance. So basically, for each development, it needs fund, especially for small-scale developers. So they really need fund in order to proceed with any development project. Even for cash-rich company, like Sam Dhabi, for example, or Eco World, for example. So basically, they still prefer to get fund from financial institution. So the purpose is because with the fund, they will be able to purchase land banks, for example, for the purpose of future developments. But if you see in terms of the present situation, when we are still having COVID-19 problems, even EcoWorld is having a problem because their debts is very, very high, because they started to develop or to start with their projects from bank loans, and now almost every companies are having problem. Almost every developers are having problems to sell the unit. So basically, there is no cash flow, no positive cash flow for them, and most company are having problem, especially a giant company like EcoWorld is really in a very bad situation. For the same thing for UEM Sunrise, so they are also having problem at the moment. So basically, they need money or they need fund in order to proceed with any development projects. So in terms of definition, we can say that development finance is a loan granted for the developments of either residential, commercial, industrial, or any mixed-use properties. Or in other words, we can say that any what we call it township development, because township usually have a mixed use. But the word mixed use doesn't mean that township, but township definitely have mixed use. But mixed use properties sometimes under commercial. For example, we have, if you look at SOFO, for example, so basically we have a commercial lots at the ground area, but at the top we have residential. But those residential units are still considered commercial, even it is fall under residential. So basically, it is residential, but in terms of the runnings of the residential property is subject to commercial rate. So they have to pay more. They have to pay a more expensive bill, for example, a water bill as compared to residential, definitely cheaper than commercial. But for those who purchase SOHO, so basically they need to pay based on a commercial rate. The same thing for electricity. So, and then for residential, for example, mixed use can actually be considered in terms of the size of the development itself. Sometimes they have, residential, but within residential, they also have bigger size in terms of, if we look at a condominium, for example, we have standard units, and then we have bigger units, and then we have penthouse, and then we have even now penthouse, or even standard unit. Now we can get a two-story condominium unit. So basically, this is all referred to mixed-use property. You learn how to calculate to come up with mixed-use properties when you enter the second semester. So I'll teach you real estate market research. Oh, I'm sorry. I think the next sem I'm taking a leave for 5 months. I don't know who's going to teach yet, but if my leave has been approved, so basically someone has to teach you. But if I do not go anywhere, that means my leave will not be approved. So basically I can teach you how to come up with a development mix based on the property market research. That's why you put a property market research towards the ends of the final year. So after you have learned all of the subjects, because when we talk in terms of property market research, so basically you need to know about property laws, which you have learned, and then you have to know about finance, you have to know about property development, you have to know about planning. So basically all of these will be combined together in order to come up with the property market research. So that's how your understanding on the property market research your understanding on all the overall subject can actually be transformed to the property market research, and then this is really important when you become a real estate consultant in the near future. You need to understand that. So basically, a loan is granted for the development of residential, commercial, or mixed use or township developments. It is often granted to experienced developers. So for less experienced developers, they have to come up with so many documentation in order to get a loan. They do not have experience that much, but sometimes the locations of the properties is located in very good location, and then based on the demand analysis, etc., that support the feasible aspects of the development. So basically, the banks will actually approve. So this is also your duties when you join a professional, especially as a real estate consultant. So I believe that a few of you have actually joined the professional talks by our alumni, organized by Cik Zul a couple of weeks ago. I'm not sure how interesting they were, but I noticed that one of the topic that was discussed, I think research and consultancy, apart from valuation agency. So research and consultancy. So research and consultancy is also challenging jobs actually, if you want to join, because you will involve all these things: development finance, you will involve property market research, you will assess the feasibility study to come up with the ROI of the investment, and at the same time you can also do valuation, which is based on residual method to determine the existing or the future value after the project has been approved. So basically, it is very challenging, and you will gain a lot of experience if you join this section as compared to valuation section. So usually you will only focus on valuation. If the company is big, you may be able to get a complicated valuation, especially for the purpose of submission to the Securities Commission. So when the company want to expand the business, like we are talking about just now, so they have to issue shares, or even REITs companies, so they have to issue REITs. So basically, if you have to do valuation for that particular companies, so basically what you need to do is totally a different valuation reports. It's not the same like you learned in the second year last time when you actually come up with, I still remember, investment methods, and then use comparison, for example, as cross-check method. So something like that. But market analysis is very important if you want to submit to Securities Commission. Otherwise, they'll reject your report. You won't accept. Even if you are registered valuer, if you won't come up with complicated analysis, especially for comparison method you are using, the one that you are using, in terms of adjustment, etc. So basically, you learn further once you join the professional. So basically, your works will actually be demanded as a real estate consultant in order to establish the report that the banks requested from developers. Valuation is valuation. If you work in a small company, usually you do valuation for terrace house, valuation for apartments. That one is just a standard. You use standard valuation report, and then you come up with a little bit of calculation through comparison method, find the similar properties, and then come up with the value. That is not very challenging. That's why even you become registered valuers, if you do not involve yourself in research and consultancy, you will never gain experience for that, although you are registered valuer. And then most international companies, they will approach us to do this kind of analysis, research, and then investment analysis, because they are all investors. But for local, so usually they want to purchase a house, want to purchase commercial property. So all of them are basically based on a comparison method. So basically, it is often granted to experienced developers and contractors so that they can raise the capital to turn the proposed developments, the one that they have submitted to the planning department, into a commercial reality in order to make money. So without development finance, they won't be able to do that. And how does development finance work? So unlike a traditional mortgage lender that you have learned before, because traditional mortgage lender will actually consider the value of the property whenever the purchaser want to purchase any unit. But development finance will actually take the value of the completed property into accounts. So what does it mean here is, whenever we have a site, so you actually use residual method. So basically, you have to establish the gross development value. So gross development value will actually be used for the purpose of calculating or establishing the total value that you should get for that particular development. So basically, you will take the value of the completed property, even the units are not there yet, for ordinary mortgage lender. So basically, they use, if you buy second-hand property or sub-sale property, usually it will be based on the value of that property. But if you buy a new one, so we have something like SMP agreement, and then we already have all the lot title, even the units are not there yet, but the value will be there, which is based on standard value of the property at that time. But for development finance, we have to come up with something like hypothetical value, which is based on the actual value. Because in order to estimate the gross development value, sometimes you have to include the investment method as well, especially for commercial property, which is based on the rental value, net rental value, and then you multiply by years purchase, etc. From gross development value, then you deduct the gross development cost. But for special properties, especially the property that get income not from rental, so basically it's from profit, then you can also calculate the gross development value in order to establish the net rental value. So from from the profit they make, so you have to deduct all the costs, etc., and then you actually get the net profit. From the net profit, if you remember, we have the so-called divisible balance. So from divisible balance, so we can actually establish the net profit, and then from net profit we multiply by YP in order to establish the GDV. So the same thing for cost method and investment method. So basically, that value is considered when we deal with the development finance. So what constitutes development finance? So basically, whenever we deal with development finance, there are three stages that we have to understand. Whenever we want to start with the project, there are two types of developers. One type of developers, they already have land banks. So when they have land bank, basically they they have to do feasibility studies or market research in order to come up with all the development mix. So once they are satisfied with the development mix, because that report has to be submitted to the bank as well when they apply for a development finance. So for the start, let's say they have already have the land banks. So basically, there will be no cost involved because they already have the land. But in order to start, they have to clear the site or site clearance, and then they also have to develop infrastructure to come up with basic infrastructure, and then they also need to come up with site office, and then they also need to pay working capital. So basically, all of these things will involve cost at the beginning. So when they start with the project, so they need the fund or the cost that to cover initial costs, such as working capital and site office, etc. But for those companies who haven't got land banks yet, so basically they can start, they need more money in order to purchase a project site. So once they have identified a project site, so basically they can actually start to do site clearance, etc. So basically, all of the initial funds that are requested or that are required by the developers is called term loan. So term loan is something like um, overdraft account, something like your credit card. So if you have credit card, there is a limit that you can withdraw. Let's say if the banks give you 10,000 as a credit limit, so you can spend up to 10,000 per month, or not per month, as long as the limit is there, up to 10,000. And then if you manage to pay the amount that you use within 1 month, based on the predetermined period by the bank. So if you manage to pay, then no interest will be charged. But if you are not able to pay, and then you start to bear all the interest, so the loan will be more expensive. The longer you pay, you need time to pay, the more interest that you have to pay. So the same thing applies to term loan. So basically, when developers need money for the purpose of purchasing project site, working capital, etc. So basically, during that period, they won't make any income at all, but the cost will be expensive until they launch the project. So once they launch the project, they will start to get the income. So in terms of the term loan, it is convertible because the developers cannot actually pay the loan at the beginnings of the project. So basically, it is convertible. That means it can be converted to the so-called bridging finance. So bridging finance, where I think all of the developers, even Simon Davies, the cash-rich developers also, they use, they also borrow money from financial institution for the purpose of bridging finance. So basically, bridging finance cover the main costs, for example, building construction costs, main infrastructure costs, etc. So once they start to launch the project, there will be buyers who come to purchase the unit, and they sign the sale and purchase agreement. Once people like us, who are the purchasers, sign the SMP agreement, so basically that is a duty of the developers to deliver a completed unit within 24 months for landed unit, and within 36 months for strata units. So they cannot run away, because if they deliver the units very late, so we are eligible for to claim for penalty. So most developers, they don't want to pay to try to avoid penalty, because it is also very costly. So basically, once we launch the project, so the bridging finance must be there. Otherwise, the developers will be having problem, because they cannot proceed with the building construction, etc. So basically, the term loan help the developers to come up with purchasing the project site, and then to cover the working capital, etc. And then we continue with the buildings construction. That means start to develop the projects once the advertisement permit has actually been obtained. So basically, they need bridging finance, which is more in terms of the total value will be more what we call it figures that we need as compared to the term loan. So term loan and bridging finance are basically interchangeable, but the thing is term loan, we use the word term loan only at the beginnings of the project. And then once they started to launch the project, they also have to look at, to come up with the banks, financial institution as the panel for the purpose of providing loan to purchaser. So the people like us, we will pay 10% deposit, for example, like you have seen on the mortgage calculation, and then 90% should come from financial institution. So usually the developers will deal with the financial institution to come up with good packages. So then it's up to us to choose which package that suit our requirement. So basically this is called Ain'ni finance, which cover a property purchase, for example, to provide a potential homeowners to purchase the chosen unit. So any question on this? Are you okay?
Doctor, can you hear me?
Yeah, can.
I'm wondering what is meant by the convertible between term loan and bridging finance. Is that one can be converted into another?
Okay, like I said just now, when we talk about the term loan, so we cannot pay. The developers obviously do not have money until they launch the project. So once they started to launch the project, at that time only they can pay the term loan. But it depends on how much or how many units that we manage to sell. Depends on the market condition. Like now, COVID-19, that's why most developers are having problem. So they cannot pay. So that term loan, we usually have a very high interest because this is a very short time, short period of loan. Usually they will impose very high interest. The same like if you look at the credit card interest, which is about 18%. So 18%, if you do not pay, then you bear all the costs. The same like Along. Along is also another, illegal fund provider, but they use compound interest formula. That's why today we are supposed to pay 200 ringgit, and then if you do not pay tomorrow, you will jump to 400 ringgit, and then the following day, almost 1,000 already. Because use a compound interest formula. So that's why avoid Along at all costs. Do not try to get any loan from Along. So for the banks, they use something like credit card. The interest rate is very high on the expectation that we as customer, especially developers here, should be able to pay. But if the market is not so good like 2019, and then they will bear all the more expensive interest, and then all of them cannot be paid, and then until they launch the project where they need the money to construct or to develop the project, and the money under term loans which haven't been paid will actually be combined with the new loan that they get for development. So basically that's why I said term loan is convertible. It can be converted, but if the developer has money, then they can actually pay the term loan, and then they don't have to convert it. They don't have to convert term loan to bridging finance. They can split term loan and bridging finance under two separate finance, because term loans will be more expensive than bridging finance. Bridging finance is also expensive, but not as expensive as term loan. So basically, that's what it means by convertible. Okay. Okay, now we go to
Doctor,
yeah.
I have a question for the Ain'ni finance. Is that the mortgage loan? Because this one is provide the home buyer to purchase the unit. Normally they borrow the mortgage loan to buy a unit, right?
Yes, it is referred to the mortgage loan. Bridging finance and finance referred to the mortgage loan.
Okay, so thank you.
Okay. So now we go to see how the development finance work. So if you refer to the diagram here, this is my very own diagram because I haven't published the book yet. So most people, when they quote this diagram, so usually they just put as Rosely signed lecture notes session 2020-21, something like that. But by next year, I think that's the reason why I'm taking a 5 months break. I want to complete this finance books. So I hope that by next year I should be able to publish these books. So if you look at the diagram here, you can see here the positive figure is at the top and the negative figure is down here in terms of RM. So for the first few years, so once the board of director decided to start with new developments because the market is so good, for example, so that's why you have learned about the real estate system when we talk about the investment market, and then the user market, and then the development market. I'm not sure whether you still can recall the first topic that we learned. Do not think that it is not important because they are interrelated. So for the first few years, for the companies that haven't got the land bank, they will actually proceed with to find the best site for the purpose of development. And then once they have found the site, so basically they will actually start to apply the planning for planning approval, and then they will start to, once approved, so they also need to come up with site clearance, and then they have to pay employees in terms of salaries, working capitals, as well, and they have to construct a site office, etc., and then to come up with infrastructure development, because infrastructure is very important. That's why when you learn from me in the real estate market research next semester, so basically the infrastructure development is also a part of the strategies that you have to understand, because you become a real estate consultant. So basically we have to determine which part of the site should be started as the first phase, because the purpose is to reduce the cost, the cost to our client, and then to increase profit, and then the more profit that we have, so that means the less risk that the development should have. So the more what we call it break-even point that we should have if we manage to sell the units quickly through our phasing strategies as well as marketing strategies. So basically, once we launch the project, the point here, so basically we will actually get the income from the purchaser. We, that means developers, start to get income from developers. So once we launch here, so the income stream start to come in. So it will become the revenue. The income stream will become revenue for that particular project. So this is based on the build then sell. That means we build first. No, this is based on, sorry, my fault. This is based on sell then build. Sell then build. So basically we sell first before we build. So when we launch the project, I think I will do the correction straight away, otherwise I tend to forget. Okay, this is the sell then build. So basically, once we launch the projects, so the income stream will start to come in. So that means the developer will enjoy all the income, provided that the project is good, and then they have good or sound marketing strategies. So basically, it will actually maximize the cash flow, and then the profit will be achieved faster. So during these few years, so this is what we call the term loans just now. The term loans, which is the cost that the developer should get from the financial institution in order to proceed with all the initial progress of the development. So this cost is transformed to here because the cost will start from zero here, and then it will become bigger and bigger, more negative until one particular point. So basically, the term loan here will become like this triangle, exactly under this figure. So this triangle will basically refer to the term loan. And then from this term loan, it can be converted to more costs here, which actually become the bridging finance. So altogether, after converted, is called bridging finance. So the total cost that we need for this development is this point. So that means more negative here up to this point. So it takes about at least 2 years plus another 1.5 years around that. So about 3.5 years. And it's depend on the market condition. So from here, once the developers started to receive income from the purchaser, and then they can actually start to pay the loan, the term loan here. They can actually start to pay the term loan, and therefore, although it is already converted to bridging finance, but they can actually start to pay this portion, and then from this point, because they start to have money, so the net cash flow curve for this project will start to move to one particular point. It's still going down because it start from here and it start to go down because we paid up to a certain percentage here of the unit that managed to be sold. So we have money, the developer have money. So basically they start to pay, and then the net cash flow curve will start to go to the lowest point here, which is called the peak borrowing requirements. That means the highest borrowing requirement that developer needs. And after that, it tends to go upwards until they reach the zero line here. So this is called the break-even point, or we know the payback period, or the achieve here. And after that, with the income stream further here, so basically the net cash flow will become positive. So this is basically the line that the developers will enjoy themselves, because the cash flow will become positive. And then through Ain'ni finance actually refer to this area that help the income stream after the developer launch the project. So basically, faster STB, sorry, I haven't changed this one. Faster STB profit can be achieved through sound marketing strategies to maximize cash flow. Okay, can you follow? Hello, hello, hello.
What is sound marketing strategy?
Some marketing strategies that you must be proactive. Like now, for example, obviously we need online marketing strategies. So that's why most companies, even estate agency, they started to have very unique marketing strategies. So you can ask your lecturer who teach you marketing. Have you learned marketing?
No, haven't.
So next semester, perhaps. So basically, there are several ways of doing marketing, which I'm not going to talk here because it's not part of my subject, but basically what I could say is the more what we call it attractive that you do the marketing. For example, you come up with several packages. For example, fee Bible for valuation fee Bible, legal fee Bible, and then you provide 10% rebate, or you can actually come up with each unit should come with new TV, for example, 5G or etc. So basically, this will actually attract a customer to purchase, and then you can come up with something like interest-only loan that where you actually pay the purchaser can only pay interest only, not the capital yet, something like that. So basically, you reduce the mortgage payment like you have learned before. So that kind of things is must be studied. That's why you need to learn property market research. Then once you manage to sell quickly, so basically, you know, the profit can be achieved faster. Okay.
Okay.
So now we go to the other diagram. So you have seen just now under the sell and build, which is this part. Now we try to see the build then sell. So build then sell, usually developer need money for the purpose of development because they do not launch the project like the sell and build. So they do not launch the project here because they want to build first. So in order to build the project, the cost will be like this. So they need to get all the total amounts of the costs from term loan and bridging finance until the projects or the units have been completed. So once the projects have been completed, and only at that time they'll start to sell the units. So when they start to sell the units, so basically they owe the financial institution this amount, and then they start to sell the unit only here. Because the project completed here, they started to sell the unit here. So basically, they launch the sale here. So for STB, they launch the sale here. But now for BTS, they launch the sale here. Once they launch, so they will start to get the money coming in. So this will become the income stream for that particular project. So once they receive the income, so basically they will start to pay the bridging finance, and then when come to this particular point, so basically they will start to have a positive cash flow. So basically they will start to enjoy positive cash flow at this point. So the same things, they need to come up with sound marketing strategies in order to maximize the cash flow, in order to achieve faster profit for that particular project. So it all depends on you as a marketing agent, as well as you as the property consultant, to come up with good strategies from the beginning when you start to recommend. So this is how our profession works. Do not think that, do not put your mind into valuation. That's why I tend to be disagree with certain lecturers, because all of us, or majority of us, are registered valuer, but they focus too much on valuation. So that's why most students, they think that they want, you know, when we ask what you want to be, or I want to be a registered valuer. That's true, that's correct. Everyone can be registered valuer because we have a degree in real estate, and then from some more. So you should be proud of yourself. But and then some of you like to be an estate agent, which is also good. But once you graduate, if you want to be an estate agent only, So that is no good for you. You better get a license to be a registered valuer, because once you get licensed as a registered valuer, you can actually cover 3 things. Number 1, valuation. Number 2, asset agency. Number 3, property management. But to be a research and consultancy person, that means a property consultant. So basically, it will cover all those 3 things plus the market research that the other 3 professional seldom do. Even if they do very little one in order to come up with their strategies. But you have to come up with something if you join research and consultancy. So sometimes, we resort development, for example, especially theme park. So theme parks are like Genting Highland theme park, for example, or a Sunway Pyramid, for example. So nobody thought that that particular area will be good development and the most demanded area for resort facilities. The mines, another one. So basically at that time, all the derelict site, that means the site that nobody want because of the mining activities in the area, but a Sunway purchase, which are very, very low price. And then the same things for Lim Gontongs, for the Genting Highlands. Nobody thought that we could have something like that before. So the study was conducted for the purpose of identifying whether the project will be feasible or not. So that is the duty of the property consultant. So if you focus on valuation, like I said, you only wait until the project completed and then you value. But if you become property consultant, you do both. Although the term research and consultancy doesn't have a specific requirement, doesn't need a license. But if you have a license, will be more helpful to you, and the client also will rely on you, because at the same time you are also a registered valuer. But in order to do or to become a registered valuer, you need to submit something like investment appraisal, investment analysis, and then feasibility analysis as part of the requirement to be a registered valuer. So if you join research and consultancy, so it's a lot easier for you when it comes to that part. But if you do valuation, then you will gain experience in terms of valuation, but not in terms of feasibility study, not in terms of development appraisal, investment appraisal, etc. So I still believe that, because I used to be trained under this section. Even now I'm doing business, I'm focusing on this. So basically I can do both valuation, because I'm also a registered valuer. At the same time, I'm also doing all the feasibility studies, and most of my clients are international clients. I do not have local client. So far, no local client yet, but most of my clients are, from United States, even from China, Japan, got from Korean, Singaporean. So basically, all of these international clients, they don't need valuation, because they want to see the potential of investing in the market. So basically, once they anticipate, because they have money, these international clients, they have money, very big corporation. So once they identify the site or the area, then basically either they come up with their own money, or they will actually get fund from offshore banking, offshore financial institution, and then at that time the valuation will they will ask us to do valuation report. So basically, we go back to this. That's my advice for you to think. That's why if you do not follow the professional talks but for alumni, you may not be able to see. And then some alumni also may not be giving you a good picture about the profession. So, but at least you can share, through their experience, you learn a lot. That's why we always encourage you to join that kind of talks, because we as a lecturer, like myself, I'm sure you don't believe me, You might say that, Dr. Rosli teaching theory, boring. That's why I always heard at the back. Correct or not? If you keep quiet, that means it's true. Okay, quiet means true. Okay, so this is how it works between the STB and BTS. Any question on this? No? Okay, good.
Doctor, can you go back to previous slide? So at the, like, you see the what is this? The dotted line, which is the income stream and the net cash flow for the build and sell, they will like having an intersection. Is it
Build and sell.
Is there any meaning for the intersection here?
You mean
The dotted line? Yeah.
No, this one doesn't make any difference. Depends on your marketing strategies. If your marketing strategies is not so good, this line may become like this. You see that?
Okay.
The same thing here. If the market is very good, the line can become like this as well. You see or not? If your strategies is good, like goreng pisang, like what happened before 1997, 98, when almost everything built was sold, so you only open, you don't have to do exhibition basically at that time. So people come to your site. So once you started to launch, you can finish all the units, about 1,000, 2,000 units within only a couple of hours for very good project. So if it's happen like that, then this one will become like this. So basically the line is just to show the direction, it doesn't make any difference whether it has a crossing point here or not. But all the points here, the one that I put arrow here, this one is very important because it tells us the exact point.
Okay, understand, Doctor.
Okay, now we go to see the process of development finance. I think I'll give you a test, not a test on this, because we haven't decided yet. But maybe I'll give you a sort of a forum, and it's not compulsory for you to answer. Something like a forum, and if you think that you try to answer during your free time, and then you submit to me online, so I can see that how far do you understand about these two things. So I'll create a question under forum, and then you try to re-explain these two diagrams based on the given question, and then you submit to me. There is no time limit. Try to understand and try to write, and it's not compulsory. Can you do that? You want to do that, or you don't want?
Okay.
Boleh.
So I'll give you a question on the forum later on. Try to answer. And then the process of development finance. So basically, for large-scale developments, usually requires a loan for the purpose of financing the construction or building for a specified period. So this is what we have discussed before. And then to purchase the final product and keep it as an investment. So what it means here, to finance the construction, so basically refer to term loan and bridging finance. to purchase the final product, it is basically referred to the mortgage loan that you mentioned just now. So the parties involved in the loan process are basically the borrowers, which are referred to developers. Developers definitely need money for the purpose of construction. So basically, the developers is also the long-term holder of equity. So basically, they cash-rich developers, usually they have their own equity, their own pocket money. So we can say that something like big pocket developers, small pocket developers, there are some people they use that kind of terminology. So basically, big pocket developers, they need to get less loan, especially those who already have the land bank. So they don't need to purchase the land anymore. So basically, the cost will be less, but they only need the money for the purpose of constructing the buildings. So borrowers are basically developers, and then lenders for short-term loans, for example, commercial banks or merchant banks or investment bank. So basically, these people, these organizations are the lenders for short-term loans, and then the lenders for the long-term loans, which are typical institutions such as insurance companies, trust fund, etc. So that's why you learn under the real estate investment trust last time. So basically, if the rich companies also lend money to purchasers, so basically they will become the long-term lenders as well. But it is prohibited. It is not allowed by Bank Negara Malaysia to be practiced in Malaysia. But in the US, yes. In the US, rich companies are practicing lending money for the purpose of purchasing their own units, but in Malaysia cannot. So, and then the banks usually require a complete cash flow assessment. This is your duties as a real estate consultant. This is the cash flow that you have done in second year under valuation, but do not confuse between DCF valuation and then a DCF for the purpose of assessing the ROI, return on investment, because this one will actually involve the IRR, the internal rate of return. But unlike the cash flow for valuation, this evaluation, because it will involve a gross formula, so the income will be expected to be growing in future. This one also, it is expected to be growing, but it is subject to phasing strategies. So basically, for long-term loan, usually financial typical institutions such as insurance company, trust fund will actually come up with that amounts, but the interest rate they charge usually much higher than the commercial bank. So a complete cash flow assessment should be obtained. So I think I have been doing a cash flow assessment for so many projects already. And in fact, I have my own cash flow as compared to other lecturers at the faculty. Because cash flow also involve different situation. But for the purpose of learning, of course, I cannot give you all the cash flow. But basically, you can call me a cash flow guru if you want to, because I have been doing this so many times with so many projects. Even before I joined UC Malaya, I already started because I love figures, and then I love to have developers. But when we mention developers, when we do this, it doesn't mean that developers, we also have investors as well. Because investors, international investors, usually they are not developers, but they need all these things for them to decide. So the bank needs to understand in more detail about the firm. So there's another things that when developer submits for the purpose of getting loan. So basically, the developers need to come up with who are the directors of that particular companies, and then what is the value of that company. That's why you learn business valuation. I'm not sure whether have you learned business valuation or not
This sem.
this sem.
Yeah.
So that means you are learning now.
Yes.
So you have to deal with all the stocks, with all the intrinsic value, with all those things. You have to understand that, because when it comes to developments, finance, the financial institution will actually need all those reports, to see the credit worthiness of the company before they come out with the loan, especially for very big project. Like last time in Putrajaya, it involved a very big project, and then one particular banks cannot actually come up with one particular loan, because they also have a limitation in terms of providing the fund. So they come out together, by combining several financial institutions in order to come up with a huge a fund for the purpose of that particular development. So they call this a syndication. Syndication loan, we should come from a different financial institution that combine together in order to come up with a very big lump sum amount for the purpose of that development. So you should provide the latest copy of the statement of account as well to see how the financial institution perform. And then we try to understand the process. So basically we have developers here, and then we have lender on the left hand side. So developers will actually purchase the land. They actually purchase the land for development by getting the bridging loans or the term loans that is convertible to bridging loans, and then the land they purchase will actually be used the same exactly like the mortgage we have learned before as a collateral. That means the site itself will actually be used for the collateral. So basically, this is, we as a real estate consultant or valuers will actually need to come up with the new value of the developments already at this point. Let's say if we purchase 10 million of agricultural land, after converted, and the price will become 20 million. You use residual method. After you have done a market study, market research, and then you come out with the development mix, and then from the development mix, you try to identify the correct price to be offered, and then based on your property cycle analysis, you must justify how many unit that will be managed, that managed to be sold at one particular point of time. So basically, you should be able to come up with very good cash flow, and then the project land will become from 10 million to 20 million. That is your duty. That's why QS, QS they because QS, you only do costing, economics, in terms of economic costings, to justify whether the project is good or not, and nothing else. But you as real estate consultant, you go beyond that, because you also have to come up with feasibility studies. When it comes to feasibility studies, QS will normally be having problem in terms of establishing the gross development value. So that's why they are blaming real estate. They said that why real estate need to do feasibility study. This is part of our profession. That's what they are claiming. But we, as real estate consultants, we are well established in terms of providing feasibility studies out there. That's why QS is a bit jealous, They only rely on a confirmed project. Once the project confirmed, then they get the job. and then they start to do the costing analysis. But we, before the beginning of the project, we already get involved, provided that our name is in the market, our company is in the market, then people will approach us. So that's the beauty of doing real estate costs as compared to QS and BS. Architect, yes, it's good. Architect in terms of design, but they design based on whatever they think, based on the theme and the concept. But the thing is, they do not consider whether the units they are designing can actually be sold in the market or not. So that is also your duty. They will rely on you. So as a development team, you sit together with architect, with QS, with engineer, with land surveyor, with town planner. So we sit together. So any single word from you, when the client asks, because the clients usually they also have their own project manager. This is another thing that if you want to join, you can also become project manager. So once the project manager or the board of directors themselves, sometimes the board of directors will sit together. So basically, when they sit together, the architect will come up with very nice designs with several new themes, etc. Very impressive. And then based on that, the QS will actually come up with the costing to see how much it will cost. And then the final word, the client will ask you, what do you think? The real estate consultant, because you are the market people. Only one single word you say, and then the QS will get the gun and shoot you. If you say no, just one single word, no, because you are the marketing expert, the real estate expert, so you know that whether the unit can be sold or not under the present market situation. So your single word will actually kill the architects and the QS. Building surveying, normally they do not, building surveyor, they do not come into picture yet until the project completed. But engineers, they keep quiet usually because they will assess in terms of structure, etc. And land surveyor, they also keep quiet because they will only they will only do a survey after the final plan has been approved. So town planners, they will comment whether the units that we are proposing, they will try to fix under the plan. So it is very, very interesting. So that's why I like to be a real estate consultant myself. I don't like to be valuers. I am a valuers, but now I'm doing valuation, but I don't like to focus on valuation 100%, like some of the lecturers always ask you to do, because I have different views, and then I have been practicing real estate valuation as well as agency, as well as research and consultancy. So we have project lands for developments, and then this project land will actually be charged to the lender because the lender will actually provide bridging loans to the developer. So the same like mortgage that you have learned, you will become a collateral. The site will become collateral for that particular loan with higher value, not based on 10 million like I said just now, the purchase price, but now it will become 20 million. And then based on that, they will start to construct and sales the units. So when they launch the project, so basically we have all the purchases here that should come under end financing. And then once they paid to developers, and then the money will actually be used to redeem the loan that the developer get from the financial institution. So end money, the amount they get from end finance, will actually be used to pay bridging loans to the lender. So that's how do we translate the diagram just now. So the banks or lenders take legal charge, the same like mortgage loans that we have discussed before. So the developer will be the charger, and the banks will actually add a charging. So in terms of bridging loan, it will actually be repaid through progress payment and redemption. So you will see under the Housing Developers Act, the third schedule of payment. So basically, like before in the 1980s, so you were not here yet. I was still young at that time. So basically, most developers, they run away after they collect the money, down payments, 10%, and then they declare themselves as bankrupt. So basically, they run away with the money. It will become very rich. But with the third schedule of payments under the Housing Developers Act, amended 2002, so basically the developers cannot run away, because even they run away, they will also become they cannot bring all the monies, because all will be based on the progress. So they can only collect the money through progressive payment. But last time, when we get the money from when we approach the financial institution, so we get the 90%. That 90% will actually be transferred straight away to developers. And then if developers do not comply or do not complete the project, and we are the victim, because our contract is not between ourselves and developers. Our contract is between ourselves and the financial institution. So although the project is not there, then we still have to continue to pay until the next 30 to 35 years. So that's what happened to Highland Towers at Bukit Antara Bangsa there. The Highland Towers is not there yet. And some of the owner died during the incident. Some survived. So those who are still survive still have to pay the financial institution, but the units are not there. If they do not pay, then the financial institution will come up with the so-called deficiency judgment that we have learned before. That's why I said the concept of mortgage, the financial institution will get back not even a single cent less than the capital they have actually approved for the purpose of purchasing the units. Remember that we have discussed before?
Yes. But
Yeah.
tapi kejamnya.
Not kejam.
Yeah.
Not kejam, because they come up with the money. And obviously they want back the money. Profit is different issue. Interest is different issue. They will only calculate up to the stage that we actually, for example, when Highland Tower collapse, they will only calculate up to when the times the building collapse. But the money they have actually approved need to be paid. But from insurance will only cover fire. Usually for the site, for the building, we only take a fire insurance. We do not take if the property collapse. So, for example, we purchase a house, and then it come up with the MRTA or MLTA, the two that we have learned before. Let's say the normal one is MRTA. So basically, it will only cover yourself if you die. So do not think that's when we are still young, we cannot die. So we can die in many ways. And then so basically, if we die, and then the insurance will cover that. But if our unit is on fire, then the insurance also will cover that. But if the unit collapse, no insurance. So far, no insurance on that. But if there is a special request, I'm not sure whether the insurance company will approve or not. But so far, we only take insurance for fire. That's why for valuation, you need to value property for the purpose of insurance, not for the purpose of building collapse, etc. There is no such purpose. Okay. Not that clear.
Hello, doctor. Can you
Yes.
hear me?
Yeah, I hear now.
I'm wondering whether development finance got classified into conventional and Islamic.
You mean for bridging finance?
Yeah, term loan and bridging finance.
Yes. There are two types of financing as well, either conventional or Islamic, the same thing.
So can these two type of loan securitize, whether in secondary market?
No, for bridging loans, no. Not in
Cannot, right?
cannot. But
Okay.
for end loan, yes. For bridging loan, no, because it's very short time.
Oh, okay.
Only for end finance. Okay. So now we try to understand the process further. So let's say we have a company, the developer here, or firm ABC Sdn Bhd. So ABC Sdn Bhd will actually approach financial institution, which is the lender. So the first thing, they need the term loans, like we have discussed before, for the purpose of purchasing the project site, and then it is convertible to a bridging loans for the purpose of fulfilling the preliminary expenses for financing part of the building cost, and then become towards the end. So we have end finance to have purchases to purchase the unit. So that the first step in the process. So if you still can remember the residual method that you are using, so for financing costs, we only takes about 0.33% of the total construction costs, and then we multiply by interest rate, and then we multiply by half of the development period. Can you recall or not? If you cannot recall, that means you are not a good real estate consultant. You recall or not?
Yes.
We say yes now. I would like to reconfirm.
Dr. Lekon.
Okay. You want me to reconfirm to check whether you really understand or not?
I know this formula only. It's okay.
Okay, good.
Confirm now. Continue with lecture first.
That's the reason why we want you to learn from one semester to another. We don't want you to, learn and then you throw away all the lecture notes, and then come to second semester, you think that this is second semester a new subject, so you don't need to remember semester one. So if you have that kind of thinkings, that means you are wrong. They are interrelated from SEM 1 to SEM 6. And then once you learn all those things, so SEM 7, you go out to practice. So your senior, about 6 of you practicing with me now, 4 in KL and 2 in JB. So they really enjoy themselves. And then we are thinking to absorb them very soon. Once they finish the LI, so I've discussed with my partner. So basically, we'll offer them the post, but we haven't told them yet. So basically, because they are doing good, I also choose only the good people, recommend good people to be there. So basically, we are offering all the 6 of them. It's just a matter whether they want to continue to work there or not. So it's up to them.
Can us tell them privately?
No. It's up to you. You can tell them, but you can tell them. But the thing is, we don't know which section that they are going to put. We are going to put, because we don't know their interest yet, with the valuation or agency or research and consultancy. But one of them already shown interest, without because I haven't asked, but he already shown interest to work under research and consultancy. So I will definitely consider him if he really want to continue working there. I don't have to mention to you who he is, but definitely I got the person already. Okay. So now we go for application process. So this one we can go very quickly. So the bluffer need to fill the standard form for bridging finance, where they can actually get from the Association of Banks in Malaysia. And then the purpose of the standard form is basically to get relevant information and to identify the credit worthiness of the company. And then the main documents required during application, so resume of shareholders. So like I've explained to you before, so the board of directors, basically who they are, and the history of the companies, how many projects have they completed before, and the feasibility study project, this is your duty. You have to come up with feasibility study, and cash flow analysis, this is also your duty. And QS are getting jealous because you cannot do this, and then you keep blaming them why real estate is doing this. So you should be, you know, even I understand that at the faculty people look down at you as a real estate student, especially architect. Is that true? Yeah, people, other profession, other course, they say something like, you know, what is that real estate people doing out there, something like that. Do you agree with me or not? People look down at you at the faculty. Hello.
Actually,
Huh?
haven't encountered with it.
Haven't encountered with it?
But if someone look down on me, punch him.
Who?
If lah, I mean if.
Look
down on us, punch him lah. Hantam dia saja.
Hantam dia saja. Who's talking? I cannot see your name because I'm sharing the screen. Who's that?
MK, Linkai.
Oh, MK. So that's what I heard from some students. But don't worry about it. You know who you are. Once you graduate, then you hantam them. Because like now, you know, like now, for example, most architects, they cannot do, they do not have a project because most developers stop continuing this the project. So they do not have anything to design now. QS also do not have anything to do what we call it bill of quantities, etc., to do costing. But you, as a real estate, you still have projects. So you don't have to worry about, because number one, international client, for example, they take this opportunity to see, because they know that the market is not so good. They take this opportunity to do market study, to come up with investment appraisal, etc. So once the market ready to kickstart, then they will enter the market. That's the first thing. And then if more and more owner become bankrupt, so the banks will actually do auction, like we have discussed before. So basically, this is part of your duty as well, to do auction. You have the business all the way. And then you have to do valuation as well. Before auction, you have to do valuation to see how much is the current market value in order to determine the for sale value before auction. So you have business. During good time also you have business. During bad time also you have business. But if you go for, you do architects, so basically they are waiting now until the new project. If the market become good again, then they will get business. And then QS also the same thing. Town planning or town planner also the same thing. They wait for the project. But you don't have to wait for the project. As long as your name is in the market, you have good reputation in the market, so the banks and the clients will actually approach you, real estate consultant. But the business obviously not so good lah as compared to before COVID-19. But we still have business, no zero business as compared to architect and US. So you should be proud of yourself. Do not fear to whatever your friend tell you, or you know, they always shoot you. You just keep quiet, just like me. I always keep quiet. And then they also need the latest audited accounts and the valuation report. And then the bank will actually, after the diagram before, the firm approach the bank, and the banks will actually come out to the firm by requesting a valuation report. So this is your duty. Feasibility study, your duty. Company profile, so that means the firm duty. Security, which is usually the site itself. The management, the firm marketing strategies. So that is your duty. Look at that, the development. Disapu habis, all the 3, 4, you know, before the loan approval. So the banks will review the proposal based on a project assessment, based on the management of the firm, sources of repayment, financial strengths, collateral, and then sometimes if they think that the market needs special attentions, so they will do a perfect measurement. This is the property market research that you have to do. For example, somewhere pyramid last time, the derelict area due to mining area, you know. So basically, they need to justify. They will ask us to see the market if they do theme parks, what to do, etc. So the same thing for Putrajaya. I was involved in Putrajaya last time because the area used to be Perang Besar, not Putrajaya, Perang Besar. So I enter the area, you know, with no developments, all the palm oil trees, rubber estate at that time. So I enter. I spent quite a few of days in the jungle, not jungle really, but in the bushes or whatever you want to call it. So basically to justify whether the site is good for development or not. And then, you know, try to figure out before I present to the development team, and then the town planner will actually transform to the master plan. So the loan factors, usually the bank will ask how much money is needed, how can it be used, when is it necessary, will it be paid back, when will it be paid back, what resources are available. So basically the commitment of the loan is basically a tricky and heavy task on a firm. They must come up with you know, all sort of explanation and evidence as well. And then the banks will actually impose laws to qualified borrowers. So basically the mortgage law. And the bank reviews working papers, and then the bank will actually investigate the ability of firms to pay back. And then during development implementation, so the drawdowns can actually be submitted between the banks and the firm. So like I said before, so based on the progress payment, we come up with the redemption sum, and then we retrench of bridging loans because we already have money in the market. It's not so good because the strategies, like I said just now, when we sometimes we are also human. We cannot compare with them. We cannot say that our projection will be perfect. Although we have a lot of experience, sometimes we never know what's going to happen in the market. Like COVID-19, nobody expected COVID-19 will come to our life. So basically, this kind of a situation we never expected. But under the normal market condition, we can actually come out with a good projection, based on the previous data that we have. And then if something happen like now COVID-19, then the rescue plan has to be discussed. So basically the firm and the bank will actually discuss a rescue plan. So for example, the bank will give time to developers, for example, to pay back with extra time, or even people like us when we purchase the unit and finance. So because of the moratorium given by the government, so basically we do not have to pay any loan for 6 months. And then for those who haven't paid last time, 3 months is considered a non-performing loan already, but now the bank is giving another 3 months, so before they actually consider as non-performing loan. So basically this kind of rescue plan should be made available. And then the process of credit analysis, so during the application, so basically the bank will actually look at in terms of ability to pay, willingness to pay. So, and then these two things will actually be based on the 5 C's criteria. So we call this character, capacity, collateral, capital, condition. And then these will become, after having analyzed or having assessed all the 5 C's, so the sources of credit information will actually be obtained from interview, from financial statement, from business visit, from bank statement. So all these things that are supposed to be submitted during the application, together with the 5 C's criteria, and then they will make the loan decision. So basically, for the purpose of payment protection, so the credit risk will also be assessed. So in terms of the risk that usually involved in development finance, the demand risk, which is a function of location, pricing, and quality. So this is a basic thing that you will learn in valuation. Completion risk, so sometimes we deliver the units very late. And costing risk, the cost overrun because of the building material, the price of building materials increase. And then the financing risk, we see the credit risk because financing risks are usually people try to terminate, the agreement early, so it will involve prepayment penalties, for example. So basically, the bank will actually enjoy if they give, the loan, for example, bridging finance here for 5 years, for example, and then it happen to be the demand is so good, and then the bank decide to pay within 1 year only because they have money from purchase from a purchaser. So basically, it will involve financing risk. And then the interest rate risk, like we have discussed before, the rate of interest will actually fluctuate from time to time. And then the 5 C credit involve character. So the character of the borrower will actually indicate 2 things: the ability to pay versus the willingness to pay. So you can refer this as a NOT. And the capacity, which is refers to the sources of repayment. The capital, which refer to the degree of commitment. The condition refer to the macroeconomic environment, refer to the property cycle. That's why I said property cycle is very important when you come up with feasibility study. So they will see this, the report you submitted, the feasibility study, how the markets look like, how's the ROI, etc., in order to determine the condition. And then the collateral is basically, obviously, the site itself. So I think we finished this, and then this is another tutorial question. So is there any question to us on this subject, in this lecture?
So far, still okay. Need to do some revision first.
Yeah. Okay, good. From others, any question you'd like to ask?